religion. Number 3, there's a durable self-esteem. Self-esteem is linked to happiness. Many of the major world religions teach that God desires you to be in relation with Him, that He cares for you and finds you of worth. If you're a person who takes that knowledge and understanding and incorporates it into your own self-concept, you cannot help but feel good about yourself because you are valued. Number 4, terror management. Another way of saying this is hope. Right, so my question here is, have you ever hoped for something? Right, my parents once hoped for something. I was involved in a serious skiing accident when I was 15 years old. I was going down a hill and I tripped forward and hit head first into this big snowbank. Underneath the snow was a tree stump. It shattered the top part of my head and drove fragments of my skull deep within my brain. Instantly, in the ski hill, the immediate effect was I was paralyzed on the left side of my body. And if you take my intro psych course, I can teach you why that the damage on the right side paralyzed the left side of my brain. And I was airlifted from the hill to the hospital. This is Buffalo Children's Hospital. The accident happened in the States. My parents rushed down there and they saw me laying there on the pre-operation table. They saw all the blood, and the doctors told them that I may not survive the surgery. And if I did survive the surgery, I may never recover the use of the left side of my body again. And if I did recover the use of my left side of my body again, I may have violent tendencies, and my personality may never be the same. And so they were terrified. They were terrified, their little 15-year-old boy laying there. But they had hope. In the midst of it all, they struggled for that hope, that saying that all shall be well, and all shall be well, and all manner of things shall be well. The hope that there is something larger than you with knowledge and power beyond yours can be comforting. And this is in contrast, this reality is in contrast to the less comforting belief given to us by Richard Dawkins, that there is no evil and no good, nothing but blind, pitiless indifference. So for the religious, life is longer and happier due to community, meaning, self-esteem, and hope. The last piece of the puzzle, I told you that I was going to tell you that religion makes people better people. Well, yes, we can cite several fundamentalist movements that foster division and in-group favoritism and make people very awful to one another. Right? But other groups can be fundamentalist too. It does not require religiosity to be fundamentalist. I suggest that a definition for fundamentalism, independent of religiosity, is defined as, we're right, you're wrong, so shut up or we'll shut you up. We can make that a little bit more academic if you're not satisfied with that definition, so here you go. The belief that there is one set of teaching that clearly contains the fundamental, basic, intrinsic, essential, inerrant truth about humanity and the world. That this essential truth has a vocal opposition which must be vigorously fought. And as I'm trying to argue here, any system of belief can be fundamentalist in nature. And it is a position that is dangerous. The largest atrocities committed in the name of belief, from atheistic communism all the way to religious fanaticism, have been fundamentalist in nature. When you commit evil, you must in some twisted way believe that it is good, otherwise you won't have the stomach for it. Even in our political climate of liberals versus conservatives, people on both sides are becoming more fundamentalist in nature. Much of the tragedy of the January 8th mass shooting in Arizona has to do with the slow-growing realization that the political dialogue in the United States has become so fundamentalist that people are willing to become homicidal for it. If one looks at the teachings of the major faith groups, however, they are not by necessity fundamentalist. They are often more inclusive rather than exclusive, linked to positive human virtues such as forgiveness, kindness, and compassion. So I'll start with forgiveness. Forgiveness is the importance of forgiveness is a feature shared by Judaism, Christianity, Islam, Buddhism, and Hinduism. And psychological research is just realizing this and catching up. Research on forgiveness has demonstrated the important impact it can have for psychological healing. Research is now showing that forgiveness does not mean forgetting Nor does it deny or excuse wrongdoing. However, it may be a shortcoming around negative emotions that blister and fester under the surface for victims. In recent clinical studies, forgiveness has been linked to quick improvements in emotional and physical well-being. I'm going to show you a quick clip from a story. I usually show this in my class related to eyewitness testimony. There is a gentleman by the name of Ronald Cotton who was falsely accused of rape, and he was committed to life in prison on 2 occasions. He won a second trial, but both times the woman who was raped, named Jennifer, pointed him out and said, "You are the man who raped me," and she was false. She was wrong. DNA evidence later exonerated him, and we will see his choice now. He has the choice either to hate or to forgive.
Down and go with it.
Packed away on the shelves of the Burlington Police Department was 10-year-old evidence from the 2 rapes that night. Inside one of the rape kits was a fragment of a single sperm with viable DNA. It proved what Ronald Cotton had been saying all along. He was innocent, and the rapist was Bobby Poole. Within days, Ronald Cotton was back in court.
You are walking out here today a free man.
This time to be released. So not only do you find out that Ron didn't do the crime, you find out Bobby Poole did.
It was just utter shock, really, disbelief. I mean, by this time, this is 11 years later. And, you know, I know that I've been involved in a case of a man who's lost 11 years of his life. And I was so sad for him and his family.
In the years since Ronald Cotton's conviction, Jennifer had married and had children. Are you the one that tells her?
Yes. Her reaction, no, that can't be true. It's not possible. You know, I know Ronald Cotton raped me. There's no question in my mind.
It was like someone had just taken my life and like turned it upside down.
She cried?
Oh, she cried. She broke down. I mean, she took it all on herself. You know, the guilt. You know, I did this to that man.
Shame? Shame. Terrible shame. A suffocating, debilitating shame.
But when she thought or dreamed about that night, it was still Ronald Cotton's face she saw. To get past it, she asked if he would meet with her at a local church.
I remember him walking into the church, and I physically could not stand up.
She was nervous, scared.
I started to cry immediately, and I looked at him and I said, "Ron, if I spent every second of every minute of every hour for the rest of my life telling you how sorry I am, it wouldn't come close to how my heart feels. I'm so sorry." And Ronald just leaned down and took my hands.
Oh, gosh.
And he looked at me and he said, "I forgive you."
I told her, I said, "Jennifer, I forgive you. I want you to look over your shoulder. That I just want us to be happy and move on in life."
The minute he forgave me, it's like my heart physically started to heal. And I thought, if this is what grace and mercy is all about, this is what they teach you in church that none of us ever get. And here is this man that I had hated I used to pray every day of my life during those 11 years that he would die, that he would be raped in prison and someone would kill him in prison. That was my prayer to God. And here was this man who, with grace and mercy, just forgave me. That is overwhelming. It's overwhelming how wrong I was and how good he is.
Power of forgiveness.